you can't be focused on your workouts and putting in 100% effort like you need to be when you're walking into the octagon.
Now, were you injured or just kind of like mentally burned out when you asked to take the time off?
More mentally burned out. I didn't have any injuries, just little, bumps and bruises here and there. But I know that like training for Vanderlei, for example, I had jammed 2 fingers and I couldn't even make a complete fist. And then after that fight, of course, I had to go back into another camp, unable to make a tight fist and throw punches properly. And you just have little kind of lingering things like that add up. And it gets to the point where your body just physically feels run down and you need some time to kind of reset a little bit.
And so when they asked you for this date after Tito pulled out, was there any hesitation on your part, or was it just like, okay, this time is where, you kind of indicated that this was about the right time?
As far as hesitation on my part, was it right for me to take a fight at this point? No. But the only hesitation were the concerns that I had with, whether or not Chuck was good with the fight and all that kind of stuff. Those were the only questions I had. Otherwise, Dana called me to take the fight. He said, we need you to fight in June, and June would have been about the right time frame for me anyway.
Okay, cool. Thanks. We'll go next to Yvonne Zacharias with Vancouver Sun.
Yes, hello to all of you. A question for Chuck and Rich. I'm sure you are aware that this particular sport is very controversial in Vancouver, that it is very much on trial here. City Council has given it a 2-year trial basis. What would you say to critics of the sport up here, people who say that it's far too violent, there aren't enough rules? How do you respond to that?
Rich, why don't you take this one first?
Yeah, you know what, I've had the pleasure of fighting in several different countries, and the last one, I just recently fought in Germany, and it was almost as if I had gone back in time to about 15 years ago here in the United States, and you kept hearing phrases like human cockfighting and stuff like that. And I say to the people that have these kind of criticisms of the sport that oftentimes they're just not educated enough about what we do. People talk about there not being enough rules, and I think that if you actually saw how complex the rule system was for this sport, you'd be surprised. Referees come into locker rooms, and oftentimes they'll bring the rule sheet in with them, and it's like a 3 or 4 page affidavit that they bring in there, and they just kind of recap and make sure you don't have any questions. Every referee has nuances and little things like, if I tell you to get busy and stuff like that, but I think that once somebody actually becomes educated on the sport and they realize that this really is like a physical chess match, that, Chuck and I have spent the last 8 to 10 weeks prepping specifically for each other. Oftentimes, he's the first person I think about when I get up in the morning and the last person I think about before I go to bed. And I spend many hours of my day consistently just prepping for this one night come June 12th. And he's the same. And I think that when people realize that you put that much effort into preparing for one specific event, that it's not as simple as just 2 guys going out there and brawling. There's more strategy and of course the sportsmanship. And I think that once they see us and how we conduct ourselves as athletes, then they're going to be a bit surprised because we'll break the stigma of the perception of what they think we are.
Chuck, what do you say?
I don't know how I follow that, but yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, it's people that are uneducated and don't understand the sport. I mean, if you don't like combat sports at all, there's nothing we can say to you, but this sport's safer than boxing, safer than kickboxing. You're not going to get hurt as much. You're not going to get, permanent damage. It's not going to be as much. It's like you said, going back in time here when you're talking to these people, they don't educate themselves. They just, these guys are fighting like that. They're barbaric. They think we're a bunch of Neanderthals. I've got a college degree. He was a math teacher, for Christ's sakes. We're normal people. We train hard. We work at this very hard, and we go out there. This is our form of competing. We like doing it. We like going out there, and this is how we show we're the best at what we do.
Now, there's various city councilors who think they're going to attend to observe it. Do you think that this might create just psychologically a tamer match than you would otherwise do?
No. We're not going to be. I don't have anything. We're going to go out and fight the way we fight and do everything. And I think if they watch the fights and they understand them, they'll like what it is. Especially if they can come talk to us and get to know us. We're good, normal people. I mean.
Now, you both strike me as. Sorry.
No, we just happen to we fight for a living.
Right. You both strike me as liking each other an awful lot. You don't seem to hate each other's guts, and I'm just wondering, how hard it is to go into the cage when you actually like each other.
That's not hard at all for me. I'm trying to beat the guy in front of me, and I have a lot of respect for him, and with that respect comes I'm going to come after him very hard because I need to keep him from coming at me.
Okay, thanks to both of you, and good luck to both.
We'll take our next question from Damon Martin with MMAweekly.com.
Hey guys, first question's for Mirko. Mirko, from my understanding, this is the last fight in your current contract or coming up on that, and I just want to ask, what are your current goals as far as the UFC or the sport goes? You've accomplished a lot, but do you feel like you still have a lot of goals left to accomplish?
Well, you're right. This is the last fight at present contract. I have to finish this fight, so we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to sit with Lorenzo, and then we'll see about extending the contract. But first of all, I'm concentrating on this fight, and I would like to talk much before that.
Okay. And Pat had said that, obviously, he feels like you were responsible for the evolution of striking in mixed martial arts. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and how you feel like the fighters have gotten better and what it's forced you to change?
Well, I think you should ask Pat about that. That's his conclusion. That I'm the one who is the, how should I say,
the main reason.
Yeah. I think you should ask Pat. It was he said that, so he should explain it, not me. But I enter. But I will try, to say something. I enter in the world of MMA as a striker, and of course I always wanted to keep the fight in the stand-up position, and of course with all respect to everyone, but stand-up fighting will be always much more interesting than ground fight, and then audience all around the world would recognize better stand-up fighting than ground fight. Even you need to be very, very skilled, and you need to be a master in jiu-jitsu or wrestling, to finish the fight on the ground. But for the regular people, for the regular fans, it will always be more familiar punch or kick than submission, choke, armbar, or whatever. It will be more familiar to people, and people will always prefer to see fight to be finished by punch, by kick, or to be finished by choking or some ground and pound or something. That's my opinion, and I'm convinced in that.
Okay. And last question, Mirko. In some of your UFC fights, because you've been fighting grapplers, it seems like we've seen maybe a few less kicks than normal. Is that because you're concerned about being taken down, or can you talk to us about your kicking, because you do have some of the most powerful kicks in the sport?
What exactly you want me to say?
Do you feel like the stylistic matchups have forced you to change your stand-up at all?
No, I don't think my stand-up changed, and thanks God, finally I recovered completely, because I had a very bad injury 2 years ago, and my leg was broken, and the knee was completely broken. I had 3 surgeries for the knee, and of course it reflects on my kicking. I was afraid to kick, especially it was still very fresh, but I decided to take the risk for the Cologne fight 1 year ago. The wound was still fresh. It was only less than 6 months after the surgery, so it was a suicide according to the doctor, but I decided to take the fight, and I decided to take another fight with Dos Santos